Greetings, people of the Most High God. Kenneth Hammonds the first here. Oh, I am so glad that you have clicked on to hear this very, very special presentation that I have for you. I believe that you'll be helped and blessed by it. It's been quite a spiritual and deeply personal journey for me in dealing with this topic, and it's been emotional also. Actually, the killing of George Floyd on May 25th, 2020, and the clear silence of most of the white evangelicalism's famous pastors, preachers, spiritual fundraisers, still now 8 months later silent, precipitated my response. So Black History Month in 2021 and beyond, Black History Month, seems like a good time to speak on this. It's a powerful system, a powerful topic I've entitled Slave Master's Pastor, 13 Core Beliefs, 13 Pillars of White Christian Clergy's Support for the Enslavement of Blacks. You may have wondered about this during the time around the Civil War and just afterwards. So we're going to talk about that. This video treatise looks into the mind, beliefs, and theology of Confederate Christianity's religious leaders, their pastors, the Bible teachers, seminary professors, theologians who provided the spiritual energy that endorsed, proved in their minds, and validated the evils. They call it the beneficial good of the U.S. slavery system. I call them slave masters pastor. All right, the slave masters pastors tell the Southern Christians and slave owners, many of them who were card-carrying, respected Christians, why, particularly the Africans, were the natural choice, God's choice, for enslavement by the white man. So this video series now, I really started out to make it one quick video, found out that it's going to take me quite a bit longer than one. So we're calling this a series. So this is part one of the series. Now, after I've done the video series, I'll do them kind of solo, just me and my research. I will then, after that, have a discussion series. It'll be over the next few months, maybe several months, I don't know, with special guests and experts. I'm gonna have specialists in the fields of history, US politics, constitutional law, theology, and biblical studies. We're going to have experts come and take a look at this, and so we can figure this thing out. How in the world could pastors, preachers support slavery during that time? You're going to find out in this series that I call Slave Masters Pastor. So here we go through this. I just want you to know that you won't see me again in the series. Perhaps I'll speak at the end, but I'll go into the background. You'll hear my voice because I want the PowerPoint slides to show. So we'll get ready to go through this. Oh, right here, let me interrupt myself. This is a special study that I did on Black presence in the Bible and African Christians in early Christianity. I did it a couple of weeks back for a couple of groups that I was working with, actually for our Three Bible Teachers study, which you can check that out. Quite cool, threebibleteachers.com. Some great things that we're doing there. But this is an important two-part survey of Blacks in the Old Testament and early Christianity. And I call it a study for believers of all ethnic groups. We'll go into and let you see Blacks in the Bible. We'll answer the question, what color was Adam? And then we'll go some more into the text, and we'll look at the absolutely most important thing of Christianity, of Africans, of Blacks who were involved in the first missionary journey, and actually missionary journeys of Paul and missionary journeys before Paul. So anyway, check it out. It will be at the end of the study. I'll have a link there in what they call the notes at the end notes of the YouTube, and you'll be able to click it and move on to the other. But go ahead and enjoy this one, but just needed to let you know that that was also available to you. Thank you so much. And I think you're going to enjoy this series, Slave Masters Pastor. Yes, here we are. Let's take a look at it and let's see what God will tell us about this challenging time, maybe even a message for it today. All right, let's get right to it. Here we are, people of God. Greetings. Kenneth Hammonds here again. Now, we want to take a look at this. We want to go through this. I don't want to be too lengthy, but I do want to spend some time on this very, very important subject. So I hope you will be following us as we seek to go along and see what thus saith the Lord and what people have been saying in the past. Slave Master's Pastor, 13 core beliefs, I call it, 13 pillars of white Christian clergy's support for the enslavement of blacks. You see what I have on this title. We'll talk more about it, but this is part one of a powerful Black history series regarding clergy support of slavery in early America. All right, so let's take a look and see what is next. You might wonder, what are you doing with this thing over the eyes and mouth? I call this blind and silent Christian preacher. Ponder this phrase for 13 seconds. Ponder this for 13 seconds, all right? Just think on this. I want you to think on this for 13 seconds. The blind and silent Christian preacher. What did it mean to be silent then in the 18th century? What does it mean to be silent now in the 21st century? The blind and silent Christian preacher. Our good friend, great man, Booker T. Washington, in his Up From Slavery book, the founder of Tuskegee University, said no white American ever thinks that any other race is wholly civilized until he wears the white man's clothes, eats the white man's food, speaks the white man's language, and professes the white man's religion. Oh my, what a statement. I would say Confederate Christianity, founded upon the 13 beliefs of this study, is, in many practical respects, truly the white man's religion. It is not the New Testament's all nations, Christ-loving and Christ-living Christianity. It includes love, respect, and values the dignity and equal humanity of all people in the body of Christ and in the world. My quote, you can quote me if you like. These 13 core beliefs, however, surely do not include all the beliefs of Confederate Christianity. You say, well, I never heard that term, Confederate Christianity. As we go along, you will see that the branding of that word is correct as we look at Slave Master's Pastor. It is a brand, it is a Confederate brand of Christianity. All right. The American Jesus. This phrase, the American Jesus, is in a chapter title of the book, Rediscovering Jesus, an introduction to biblical, religious, and cultural perspective on Christ by the authors there. In this chapter, the American Jesus, here's an interesting quote, I think very perceptive. The bedrock American conviction that the center of God's saving work for the world is the United States of America. Without blushing, therefore, churches celebrate Independence Day by singing patriotic songs as worship to God. We display, that is, he says, they say, crosses draped with the American flag. We pretend that the 4th of July is a Christian holiday. They go on to say that the American Jesus is stripped of his Jewish history. And for me, Jesus is thereby stripped of his heritage, his race. Hence, the European and American white holy family in the title slide. You'll see the title slide, and the next slide will tell you a little bit about what the slide's imagery means. Now, the meaning of the title page imagery. I just threw some things in here just for the fun of it, just to enjoy it a little bit. I have 13 core beliefs. What with the 13 thing? Well, 13 is the unlucky number. 13 are the 13 original colonies, 1776. 13 are the states in secession from the Union in 1861. 13 are the stars of the Confederate flag. So 13 is a very interesting number as we deal with this subject today. Oh, the blind and silent preacher is James Henry Thornwell, 1812 to 1862. The Holy White Family, Italian painter Francesco Vanini, his painting, he lived from 1563 to 1610, is depicting a white European belief, the white European belief about the race of Jesus and his family. If you look at it, this is the race of Jesus, all right, and his family. The chains, of course, depict one of the control mechanisms that slave masters use to harness, subjugate, coerce, and demean the African slaves. These kinds of restraints could be used for both male and female slaves. And of course, Africa's colors, the Pan-African colors of red for the noble blood that unites all people of African ancestry, black for the people, and green for the rich land of the continent. Now, the blind, silent preacher, James Henry Thornwell, he's the son of James Thornwell, a plantation overseer. That should give you some insight. He did agree with the Union for a while, but then he became an ardent supporter of getting out of the Union. He uses all kind of biblical, theological, political thoughts, and an emotionally charged and influential ideological foundation. You'll see that he wrote in 1861, a Southern Christian view of slavery, which was accepted as the standard Christian view. Okay, he dominated thoughts well into the 1930s. Who knows, there may still be some thoughts on that today. And so the meaning of the blindfold and the lip guards, the idea behind the blindfold and the lip guards is that though the pastors, theologians, and prominent clergymen of that day had seen the injustices and cruelties of American slavery before their very eyes, they chose not to see or not to speak against it, but rather sought to ignore and boldly defend its practice and necessity. Yes, they believe it was necessary. Now, we're going to take a look at some sale. You want to see a sale going on? This is the public sale of Negroes. Now, there's quite a bit in this document, but let's kind of honor the memory of these slaves by at least looking at some of my red markings that I put in here. But you see, this was a great sale going on. Tuesday, March 5th, in the month of March, 1833, 1 p.m. Be sure to be on time so you can get your slaves. Now, let's take a look at each of these points that I had taken a look at. I noticed that in this one public sale of slaves, there's mention of 17 wenches. Man, I had to look that up and see what that meant in that time. Wenches, that is prostitutes. Now check this out. Listen. However, these wenches are actually young slave girls. One is age 13. They're violated and used for rape/training as unwilling sex objects. Look at that. 16, 13, Negro wenches. Oh, this is horrifying. I'm wondering, here it mentions a likely yellow girl about 17 or 18. Yellow, oh my. Will this 17-year-old likely yellow girl also be used for rape training as an unwilling sex object, as were the 13 and 16-year-olds from above? Very, very interesting. Here's a very interesting statement. Here Here's a man, he's a good man. He's a good worker. Oh man, he's a nice one. But his wife, he's a carriage driver. You see that? His wife is a likely wench. You know, likely means, hey, she's a likable one, man. You'll enjoy her. Now, note this. The carriage driver's wife is also a wench and has 2 mulatto children. Look at that. 2 bright mulatto children. How can you be mulatto? You have to come from the white man. So this woman was used by the white man, even though this is this man's wife. The couple evidently had no children of their own. That is, those were either still alive or living with them. They could have easily have been taken away. Now, this whole idea of this whole thing talking about what's payable, balance, bearing interest from the date of the sale, all this other kind of stuff, secured by a mortgage of the Negroes. You say, what, a mortgage? Yes, mortgage of the Negroes. As Negroes were considered property, they were mortgaged. Thus, once the mortgage was satisfied, the slaves were deeded back to the owner. If the mortgage was not satisfied, the slaves were sold to the highest bidder or to the person holding the mortgage. You see my source there. Look, this is crazy stuff going on. Oh, there's a little statement here with these bright mulattoes and all this. Notice the little statement of mild, retractable dispositions, unassuming manners, and of gentle appearance, and well worthy of notice, of a gentleman for fortune needing such. Oh, hey, man, if you need some bright girls and you want to train them up, here you go. What is the meaning of needing such young, bright girls? Are these also in future rape training? Quite an interesting thing. Then here's the bonus. This is so crazy. Here's the bonus. I can't spend all the time on this, but this is just crazy. Here's the bonus. 14 Negro wenches ranging from 16 to 25. This is your bonus, man. If you come by these slaves, you got a bonus. 14 bonus slaves. I suppose these are extra titillating pleasure objects thrown in to help seal the deal. Terrible. And yet, slave master's pastor says, hey, this is okay. Matter of fact, not only okay, it's ordained and preferred by God. So anyway, you say, you've been talking about these 13 core beliefs, Hammonds. Come on, what are they? Come on, let's get with it. Here they are. This is a quick rendering of it, and then we're going to go further in the next slide and further as we go through the series. Anyway, beliefs regarding American slavery in general, then Negrophobia then and now, Africa and Africans, beliefs regarding black skin. You're going to be surprised at this, perhaps. Black skin, slaves' equality, or basically inequality and humanity, white supremacy. We're going to hear the slave masters, pastors talk about white supremacy, and then reasons for this country's existence and its need for slavery. And then, of course, we can't leave out salvation. We want them to be saved so they can go to heaven. Regarding the salvation for slaves. And then, of course, it's very, very important. It's key. Started in the 1600s, the importance of laws and law enforcement in keeping blacks in their place. Then slave ownership. Slave master pastor will talk about that. And then beliefs regarding black cruelty. I'm going to have something special to say about that when we get to that. Might be in part 3. Then beliefs regarding, you won't believe this. Well, you probably will. White created colorism. White created colorism. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit. Slave masters, pastors, beliefs. Let's fast forward to today and talk about the new slavery. Now, I go into more of these details. I know you don't want me to get into all these, but we're going to spend our time in these. I'll just talk about the ones where we added a little more. In number 7, well, we said the country's existence has need for slavery. 2 answers, theological and economic. Ooh, how about that? And then we added a little bit of detail on number 12. Number 12, this is the key role of the white man's fathering and the house Negro. You see, fathering is a euphemism that they must use so that it sounds good. No, raping, exploiting unwilling Black women. They call it fathering. Anyway, 13, I add a little bit. It's called The New Slavery. This is the modern enslavement through economic disparity and unjust deliberation and adjudication of laws. This is where I'm going to bring maybe in some of my lawyers so we can talk about this stuff. All right, here's part 1, background, American slavery. Number 1, beliefs regarding American slavery in general, beliefs regarding Negrophobia, then and now. Now, the quotes that what I have here are 7 points. I call it the prologue, views of American slavery in general. And this is already in another work. I'll give you the quote of the work or what it is after this, but these are the 7 points that I've gathered from the study. All right, here we go. 7, I'm not going to read all this in detail. I might just highlight some of the red points so we can move right along. Southern clergy defended the morality of slavery through an elaborate scriptural defense built upon the infallibility of the word of God. This is the one that we look at, and it says, and we'll tell you what they believe it says. Now, Robert Louis Dabney reminded his fellow clergymen that the Bible was the best way to explain slavery to the masses. The masses want to know, well, why are we enslaving these people? Oh, the Bible tells me so. We must go before the nation with the Bible as our text. Thus saith the Lord. And the answer is, we know the Bible argument. The abolition party will be driven to unveil their true infidel tendencies. By the way, infidel, they love to do name calling. Oh man, it was a major thing in those days. Does that happen today? Anyway, and they love to grab that name calling, the infidel. Many times they call them atheists. So these are the tactics used by Confederate Christianity. Man, maybe I should say Confederate religion and not Christianity. Anyway, there's a Pastor Dunwoody of South Carolina. He summed up the case, thus God, in his infinitely wise, just, and holy, never could authorize a practice of a moral evil. He said, well, God wouldn't justify a moral evil. Therefore, slavery is not a moral evil. Since the Bible is the source of moral authority, the case was closed. During the 1850s, pro-slavery from the pulpit became very, very strong. A preacher in Richmond exalted slavery as, catch this, the most blessed and beautiful form of social government known. The only one that solves the problem, how the rich and poor may dwell together as a benefit patriarchate. My. Woo-hoo! Man, people who heard this stuff, they started to believe it, right? By 1860, Southern preachers felt comfortable. They felt very comfortable advising their parishioners that both Christianity and slavery are from heaven. Both are blessings to humanity. Both are to be perpetuated to the end of time. Perpetuated to the end of time. Do you see why we have a problem ending it now? Because it's supposed to be perpetuated to the end of time. I'm sorry, I've already jumped to my 13th point. These first 5 points of my prologue are from a great resource, Why Non-Slaveholding Southerners Fought, a good article by Gordon Rea. You'll get a chance to see that, but just wanted to let you know that is the source. The next 2 are from another source, and I enjoyed that one very much also. Hey, let's hear from Frederick Douglass. Let Frederick Douglass speak. You know who Frederick Douglass was. Great man. You can read about him in there in case you don't know about him. But he has had something interesting to say. Just a little quote from him. All the red and all that is my emphasis. He says, oh, this is a great one. You need to look for this. His speech on this, and it was pretty powerful. He said, I know the prayers of slave owners. I have been the slave of religious and irreligious slaveholders, and I bear my testimony that next to being a slave at all, I regard the greatest calamity to be that of belonging to a religious slave holder. And then you get the cries and cheers, and the Canadians are saying, "Hear, hear." Now, Douglass goes on to speak. I found them the most mean, the most exacting, the most cruel. Oh my. The Christians are the worst of the bunch. This is a startling position, but it is true as far as my experience, he says, is concerned. I know not how to explain it, but such is the fact. The religious slaveholders are the most tenacious of slavery. Woo, very interesting. Of course, if you were getting preached at like this, I guess you'd be tenacious also. Anyway, he goes on to say, at my point 7 here, I thank you. I feel mighty glad to be in England. He gets great applause. And he said they're inviting him to stay and all this great kind of thing. But he goes to say, the money was raised, and I thought at time I would bring my family to this country. But check this out in black. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brother Douglass. But on reflection, I was fearful. If I settled here, I might forget my brethren in bonds. If I settled here, I might forget my brethren in bonds. So he said, I'm not going to do that. Now in red, and do what I can in that land, that is America land, to aid those in slavery. I will continue to protest against, and I put a cross on both sides, Christian slavery and man stealing, woman whipping, cradle plundering religion. He gets a great applause on that. And you see where you can get that speech and read it. You got to take a look at it, the whole thing. It is extremely powerful. Oh, P.S. I got a P.S. I think this is the last one for beliefs regarding American slavery in general. P.S. Postscript. The Catholic Church had a major presence in slavery in the New World. According to Richard Miller, Catholic countries were the prime movers of the revival of slavery in the Old World and the introduction of it into the New World. By the way, the Church of Rome did not consider the African slave a human being until 1839. Well, thank God for 1839. I turned into a human being, my people. Miller adds that this only occurred after the abolition movement by the American Anti-Slavery Society and the certainty of the handwriting on the wall that someday slavery would be abolished. Man, if you read some of the past things, the popes told the Catholic Church to go in and take those natives and put them into bondage. Oh, it's a crazy thing, man. Y'all better stay away from religion. You know, I think y'all better stay away from religion. We better stick with Christ. Now beliefs regarding Negrophobia, then and now. You say, what is Negrophobia? Come on now. Come on now. You know what Negrophobia is? You know what all kind of phobia is. Let's talk about that. They had certain beliefs about Negrophobia. I must move along, but I only got a few more slides. Indeed, there are many. You may know them. What are the beliefs? But the number one, the main thing is what the South termed as miscegenation. Miscegenation. Oh man, this term miscegenation refers to the mingling of races through sex or marriage. This picture is meant to arouse fear, to arouse Negrophobia in the voters in the Republican Party of Lincoln supporting interracial relations. So they said, we got to get rid of that. Well, they were so upset at this, they created this sketch, this painting, this caricature, the miscegenation ball. The miscegenation ball. You see what's going on there? And you see all the dancing. You might notice that all the men, mainly just white men. I think I might see a black man or two. I don't, but it's mainly white men. We'll go on and see some more on that, okay? Hang on tight. All right. Now, this is a description of it. It's a fictionalized account of the Republican campaign dance event that occurred at the Lincoln Club on September 22, 1864. The caption at the bottom says that this event actually portrayed, this is a joke, right? Portrayed, and the Republican leaders are shown vigorously dancing, conversing, and fraternizing with fashionably dressed black women. No white women are present in the scene. No white women are present in the scene. Oh, man. The Lincoln supporters are sitting on the side of the room. They're seen kissing and scandalizing, embracing black women. See, that's what they thought of black women during that time. So they didn't want that race mixing. Let's take another look. Here's a closer look. Now you can see a little better. You see, they got a certain view. They went for the women. Look over here, man. They're hooked up. Look over here, man. They're hooked up. Look over here. They're hooked up. This guy is having a good time. This guy is having a good time. These two are having a good time. These two, look at all this craziness. Wow. This is a caricature that happened at the time. And somehow, I'm not sure why, somehow, slave master's pastor agrees with this. This shocks me, but it doesn't, as you continue and see their beliefs, as you will in incoming part 2 of this. Now, there was a pamphlet that was put out by Mr. Seaman. And what miscegenation is and what we are to expect now that Mr. Lincoln is reelected. In the 1864, has a hand-drawn picture. It's an insulting caricature of head and face. Even the hand looks like that of an ape. It's of a black man kissing a white woman. The pamphlet represents the chief fear of Negrophobia, race mixing. Now I'm going to have this come by pretty fast because I really don't want to insult black men. So I'm going to throw this over there, and you look up and get the thing yourself. Look it up on the internet, but I'm going to cover it up. What we are to expect. Man, some people are just unbelievable. They're unbelievable. Let's move on. Now, this is quoting some more, and you'll see the source down at the bottom. Southern evangelicals also feared the mixing of races, mainly because, but the races were mixed anyway, not by black people, black males, mainly because of the long history of master raping slaves. Now, this is this man's quote, so don't come on after me. Anyway, this is what they speak of. One Presbyterian minister spoke of it as a God-defying depravity of intermarriage between white and Negro races. Now, look at this. They're talking about the depravity of intermarriage between white and Negro races, but they don't talk about the God-defying depravity of white males raping black women. That's okay. And fathering, excuse me, they didn't father them. They just created them into the world. Look at George McDuffie, the last sentence in that phrase, in this paragraph. In the process, McDuffie argued that they were contributing to the end of the white republic established in 1776. The end of the white republic established in 1776. Ooh. Okay, then Dabney, he comes up again. He talks about race mixing, and you're going to love this. Well, you're going to hate it, actually. In the red, biblical society, according to Dabney, consisted of a single Caucasian race that ruled over other inferior races. Now, he goes on to say that God, by divine providence, place African Americans in America for their own good to gain the benefits of Christianity and civilization. Wrong, 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 y'all. Look, it's a fact. Maybe many of those slaves brought here from Africa were already Christians. There was a very well organized Christian system. They had their churches, they had their schools, they worshiped. They were already Christians. Stupid talking like this. Man, they were already Christians. They didn't need to come here to get Christianized in a colonial system of Christianity, not a God-giving system. Come on now. That statement is ridiculous, but it is one that many believed. Watch out, somebody believes it today, but I keep running to number 13 on my list about things about today. Now, Dabney goes on, I need to go ahead, but he thought it was impossible to teach a black man, and a black man couldn't teach or rule white Christians to edification. And they'd be running preachers, people out of the church, and the stereotypes were other fundamentalists. Racial stereotypes were portrayed as African Americans as rapists, murderers, and threats to white women. Boy, that sounds so familiar. Anyway, in 1923, Moody Monthly, everybody loved Moody Monthly, flagship publication of fundamentalism. They defended Klan activity. Fundamentalist fears about the decline of Christian America. Oh, what a phrase. Christian America regularly manifested themselves in racism. Okay, now here's something. Negrophobia. What else were they afraid of? Not only that, look at in black. This is what Henry Benning of Georgia, later one of General Lee's brigade commanders. Here's what he said. By the time the North shall have attained the power, the black race will be in a large majority. And then we will have black governors, black legislators, black jurors, black everything. You think maybe even a black vice president or a president? Could this happen? What? No. It's supposed that the white race, will the white race stand for that? It's not supposable. We will be completely exterminated. The land will be left to the possession of blacks. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist that. Here's a news triple flash. By the way, slave masters pastors is not dead. The slave master's pastor is not dead. He's still alive. They are still alive. They say it loud. We're back and we're proud. We're back and we're proud. That reminds me, however, we are black believers, and we too are proud and empowered by the Holy Ghost. We're believers in the Lord Jesus Christ. We're believers. We're Christians, the kind that believe in Jesus. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. I think there was a song about that sometime in the last century. That song, was that a Christian song? Well, maybe not. Let me end with this poem from Langston Hughes. It's really, really beautiful. How about some poetry? P.S. A little postscript. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They sent me to eat in the kitchen when the company comes, but I laugh and I eat well and I grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when the company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. My God, what a beautiful poem. Poetry, I too. So this is part one of not sure how long the series is. I'm going to try to do it in 3 or 4. This is a Black History series regarding clergy support of slavery in early America. That's what this is all about. So thank you for listening. You see, we got a great road ahead of us. I don't want you to miss any of the series. I'm going to get them out every week or two as I go through what I'm considering March Black History 2. March Black History 2. That's a play on the number 2 and also TOO. But anyway, we're going to go into all this. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be blessed by it. And I think you're going to learn quite a bit. So in the meanwhile, let's just learn how to pray for our country, pray for people making decisions so that we can really have the Lord just defeat this slave master's pastor mentality. We talked about today, 2 of them, regarding slavery in general, and then Negrophobia then and now. May God help us and bless us not to have any phobia for races, but us to have love, concern, and lifting of races. God bless you. I love you. And we'll see you as we come on and continue on Slave Masters Pastor 13 Core Beliefs. God bless you. And I love you.